Today is Sunday, Parashat Noach, and we're learning the Halakha Pesuka from Chok LeIsrael. Davar she'eno ne'echal kemot she'u chai, a food that cannot be eaten raw. For instance, carrots, you can eat them raw, but meat, you have to cook it. So any type of food that cannot be eaten raw, it needs to be cooked. Vegam ole al shulchan melachim, and in addition, it's served on the table of kings. In other words, it's an important type of food that even kings would eat it, whether tapat, where to accompany the bread, or prepare it, or as a side dish. Shebishelo nochri, if a non-Jew cooked it, afilu bikli Israel, even though he cooked it in kli Israel, in a pot that belongs to a Jew, ubevet Israel, and in a Jewish home. Asur mishum bishulei nochri. It's not kosher to eat because it's considered to be bishulei nochri, the cooking of a non-Jew. So how do we get around in restaurants and people who have maids that help them? So what is considered cooking here, there's a difference between Sephardim and Ashkenazim. For Sephardim, a Jew has to take the pot and put it onto the fire. For Ashkenazim, it's enough that the Jew turns on the fire, even if the goy puts it on top. So if, let's say, you have a pilot light, some permit just the Jew to start the pilot light, and that once that light is there all the time, then the Jew has started what will make the cooking, that it's permissible. But for Sephardim, the halakha is a Jew has to put the pot onto the fire to be cooked. Betzaf al pi she'reuya legoma chaya, im beshela nochri asura. An egg, even though a person could conceivably swallow it raw, eat it raw, without having it cooked, still, if a goy cooks it, if a goy boils the egg, a Jew should not eat that. It's not allowed, it's forbidden to eat. כלים שבשל בהם הנוכרי לפנינו, דברים שיש בהם משום בישולי נוכרי, צריכים הכשר. If a non-Jew cooked some food in a pot that is a kosher pot, and the food was all kosher, but we said, if these are the type of things that cannot be eaten raw and are important enough to be served in an important meal like to a king, and in that falls meat and many, many other foods, if he cooked it, even the pot belonged to a Jew and the food was all kosher, since the food that was cooked in there is forbidden to eat, the pot became also a non-kosher pot, and you'd have to do ag'ala to it. You'd have to submerge it in boiling water to purge it from what it may have absorbed from that food that was not kosher, and only then you can use the pot again. אם הוא כלי חרס, מגיע לו 3 פעמים ודיו, מפני שאין לאיסור זה עיקר מדאורייתא. He says, if it's a earthenware vessel, which typically an earthenware vessel, once it absorbs non-kosher food, you cannot kosherize it. You can kosherize metal pots by dipping them, submerging them in boiling water. But if it's an earthenware vessel, typically you can't. But here, you're allowed to dip it 3 times, to submerge it 3 times in boiling water. Even though it's an earthenware vessel, you'll make it then kosher. Why? Because because forbidding such a vessel is not a Torah type of law. It's more a rabbinic law that they decreed that food that was cooked by a non-Jew makes the pot non-kosher, even though the food was kosher. So when it's an earthenware vessel, if non-kosher food was cooked in it, then you cannot kosherize it. But if it's food that was all kosher, just cooked by a non-Jew, then you would be able to kosherize it, even though it's an earthenware vessel, by dipping it 3 times, submerging it 3 times in hot boiling water. That was the Halakha Psuka for today from Chok LeIsrael. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.